Hello. Okay, so it's day 3 of lower back pain, and look, standing fully upright. So day 1 was the spasm, bent double, just really trying to help release some of the tension. Day 2 was pain. Day 3 is normally when I sort of overcome the main hump of things. So yeah, a lot better. Mainly today in this video, as you join me through this practice, I am looking for a little bit of stability. So it's still actually quite hard for me to ground down through my right foot. I can sort of keep shuffling around, but if I stand still for too long or sit still for too long, I will seize up again. Can start bringing a little tiny bit more strength in, so I can't really do any heavy lifting or anything like that, but I do want to burn off a little bit of energy and see about finding some stability. Ironically, once your body is back in line, well, it's not ironic, it's science. Once your body is back in line with gravity, suddenly it becomes a lot harder to fold forward because the muscles don't want to do that kind of heavy lifting work. Also, the third day after a strong spasm, actually for me, because of course I've been moving around a lot to free it up, there's a lot of fatigue. So actually my back feels really tired. I get tired really quickly. Physical tiredness, muscular tiredness. So let's see. I'm on my feet, which is a good sign, but I still have to move very, very carefully, very intentionally, no sudden movements, nothing like that. So I'm going to start down on the floor in child's pose, as we have done, I think, in all of the sessions. I'm just going to come down carefully, hands and knees. I'm going to take just a little bit of a wide child's pose. Just see how wide it can go, not as wide as usual, just a little bit more, and then slowly walking my hands forward. Remember, still not jarring anything. I'm looking for some stability. Everything feels unstable at the moment, and instability creates fear. So it doesn't really matter what kind of an injury you have, or you might take a fall. There's always the hurdle of overcoming the fear of re-injuring, re-triggering, anything like that. And you've got to start to trust the body again. So my body is still unstable. This is not the time to go back into power vinyasa yoga class, as much as I would love to do. Just offering up some opportunities to stabilize. So just have a few breaths here, and just doing natural breathing. We're chatting mostly. So we get some slightly more diaphragmatic breaths, and notice how they feel. Remembering that diaphragmatic breaths work the abdomen. And so it's interesting to see how the abdomen responds, given that all of those muscles knitted around the back have been very tight. It's about the right time to start coming back to abdominal strength. Quite gently. Just going to walk hands back in. I've just realised that I actually left my fan on, which I should just turn off because it's probably making a lot of noise. Okay, so coming to all fours today, let's just start a little bit of cat-cow, just standard cat-cow, and see how much fluidity it's possible to bring in. So if you are stabilising, then you just have to be really careful. If you're working with chronic back pain, then you know the range of your movement. So work with what's good for you. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. It's always cat-cow in yoga practice, really. So let's draw the shoulders back, inhale. Chest lifts, tailbone lifts, belly softens down, gazing forward between the hands, really, or a little bit ahead. Soften in. And exhale to round the spine. Go very slowly, carefully, connecting with the breath, connecting the chain of movement with the breath. And you can see I'm keeping my arms really long because at the moment I'm very keen on the body. I mentioned it continually through the other two videos. It's very, very important to be able to use upper body strength when your core is compromised, and you know the back of your body is also your core. So you've got to really work. You could be softening the elbows, working on forearms. We will come to forearms today. So just keep moving through, noticing the sensation. One more round, inhaling, soften the belly down, shoulders roll back. You see a nice, comfortable, you can see there's a nice even curve running through the back. That is what we want to see. And then exhaling to round, just pulling my belly in, pull the navel in. Start to warm through the abdomen. Okay, lovely. Okay, I'm going to come back to center. If you need to sit back and massage out your wrists or do anything involving just a little bit of a break, go ahead. But otherwise, a little bit of sideways work. So exhaling, let's gently draw the right shoulder and right hip together. Inhale to center and exhale, left hip, left shoulder. So just get that sideways movement. We do these in all yoga classes. Well, most yoga classes. Really, the key to any themed class, whether you're looking on YouTube, whether you're looking, just speaking to your teacher, thinking about one-to-ones, the main thing that changes is the attitude you bring towards it. And so a lot of what I'm doing is stuff that I usually do, minus things that are not safe, and bringing a different attitude, an attitude of rehabilitation to the whole thing. Very, very embodied practice. People who have been injured are much better at embodying the practice, really paying attention to sensation and being in the experience of the body in order to keep the body really safe and stable, secure. Okay, one more round on each side, and then let's just bring the knees a little bit together and draw bum back. And one more time, stretch forward. Just giving the arms a rest actually here. I'm not really needing to stretch out just yet, but it doesn't hurt. Let's weave the fingers together and just do some little wrist rolls. So just rolling the hands around with a little bit of love to the wrists. Quite a nice shoulder stretch as well. Just draw my elbows back a little bit. Go back the other way. You could always squeeze out the hands, massage them if you want. I'm going to have a look at a little bit of the possibility of a little bit of a stronger movement in spinal balance and see if that's possible. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do spinal balance in the full balancing version. But I still want to see about getting some strength in. So the first variation I'm going to do is down on forearms, which we were doing in classes before I threw my back out. So forearms, knees under hips, hands, elbows under shoulders as usual. And let's just try this out. So I'm going to take my left foot back and I'm going to put my toes on the floor, ball of the foot on the floor, and pressing back into the heel. It's going to be a long spine, but it is still sliding down. So I'm neither tucking my tailbone nor pointing it up. It's quite natural. I'm going to take my right arm forward in line with my right ear. Okay, so a little bit of strength running through now. Maybe that back leg will lift. I don't think I would have been able to do this morning. There is a lot of strength running through my left arm. And now navel can start to draw in. Count down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring the right forearm back down and the left knee back down slowly. So that is my more stable side. Just going to reach back, stretch out. I will not do anything that might compromise my spinal stability at the moment. Or if my back felt like it was still seized up, completely seized up, then I wouldn't be doing that. I'm doing it because at the moment what I'm dealing with is just realigning, restabilizing. There's a feeling of wonkiness and some discomfort. I've started on my stronger side, so it's my right, the instability in my spine originates in the right side. So we'll see now whether it's possible for me to do this on the right side. So I'm going to stretch out the right foot, reach back and pulling. Navel is drawing in. Belly is quite hollowed out, and I'm using a lot of upper body strength. Remember, this is not a lot of strength going anywhere. It's a good distribution of strength, but it's a lot in the upper body. Okay, I'm going to extend my left arm. Deep breath in. I'm going to exhale, squeeze my belly in, and just see if those back toes will slowly lift and then lengthen. Feels pretty, actually that feels okay. For now, 5, breathing, 4, 3, 2, and 1, slowly coming back. So if you're new to this stuff, it's quite hard. And if you are working with an unstable back, then you really need to not stay in postures until you're completely knackered. That's a good start. Okay, let's sit on back, lengthen out. And breathe. So that was feeling good. Okay. Lovely. So we've already done a little bit of warming. It's a little easier to do this stuff in the middle of a heat wave. The body's quite warm, so that helps. Let's have a little look at the possibility of dolphin now. So a little heat, a little muscle starting to warm up. So this is interesting because I can do a lot of this stuff, but I can't leave the house because it's not easy to walk consistently. And I can't make any sudden movements. So all this controlled work is okay, but if I had to cross the road or if I had to, you know, dodge a scooter or something, then I'd be in trouble. Okay, so forearms are down. I'm just going to square up, walk my knees back a little way, relaxing the neck, gazing out between the legs and tuck the toes. Just going to keep adjusting my posture until I can get my arms into what I think is about the right position. So the head is just floating off the ground, shoulders drawing back and down. Do you want my shoulders to be fairly well stacked over my elbows? It's quite useful to be able to see yourself when you do these. So I'm going to tuck the toes. I'm just going to pick up one knee first, just to be really careful. Keeping the knees bent to start with and just seeing how that feels. Okay. This feels quite nice. So what I've noticed with these inversions is if you can get in, if you've got the arm strength to get in the first place, it's actually quite a nice release for the spine, or at least it has been for me, because the spine gets to lengthen out without holding any additional weight. I'm starting to understand why people like those inversion tables, people with spinal injuries, because it's nice. It's nice to be able to let your spine lengthen out without holding any weight at all through your feet. I'm just breathing, not doing much. I'm just going to start to very carefully pedal out the legs. I need this stretch. I've not had a stretch yet today. Been moving around all day, but I haven't had any intentional stretching out or strengthening work. I've been waiting for a cooler point in the evening just to work into something, and also really wanted to see how just a day of generally moving around and fidgeting might help to release. I've had to cancel all my classes because it's just not safe, and it just would be a really bad idea to try and teach yoga even without doing yoga in this condition. I have to concentrate on every single move I make at the moment. So let's bring one knee down, other knee down if you're not down already, and reach back. And this time I'm going to stretch out my arms. Actually, I'm going to take the legs a little bit wide because it's warm. I do not want to close body too much.
Palms together, thumbs crossed, elbows down, draw, hands back. We're not really using much tricep strength, but it's still a nice stretch. Okay, I want to come back to all fours and look at the possibility of a twisting, thread the needle. So you can, if you're not able to twist, it's okay. You can just put yourself into the actual posture. So I'll show you thread the needle first, just in case you're coming to this video first. Thread the needle. Your one arm threads underneath the other arm, the palm facing upwards, and then you just bring your upper body down and rest it on that arm. Turn your head in the direction of the arm that's threading. And you can sit your bum back as far as you want. You can just stay there. Thread the needle is by opening up shoulders. And you can do it lying on your front, you can do it in child's pose, and you can do it from all fours. It just depends on what you fancy. I'm going to see if there's a chance of a little bit more fluidity today. So I'm going to just engage through the navel again. Inhale, gently drawing up. It's a very small twist. You can see how small that twist is. Exhale, I'm going to sweep my arm underneath, then the elbow, reach. I'm going to go very slowly, which means more work, but more stability. Navel is pulling in the whole time. I'm not releasing. Just going to have to turn my arm a little bit because it's twisting awkwardly. Inhaling up. Exhaling to roll under. Actually, this is feeling okay. This is feeling okay. It's actually freeing up as I go, which is nice. Last one. Inhaling to draw up. And exhale. I'm going to draw under and carefully lower my body down again. Turn the head to the left. And have a few breaths. Keep moving. I need to keep moving. I'm actually finding it quite a little bit of a problem. Staying still for any length of time is a problem, which it's not, this is the problem with when people say, oh, you've heard, you talk about your rest. It's like, actually, it's that kind of rest doesn't work. You got to keep moving around and being a little bit fidgety. So small micro movements. And of course, I'm talking about muscular back pain or spasm or instability. This is about muscles. If you're having nerve pain, then it's not the same. It's not the same thing at all. Nerve pain is a very different kettle of fish. Okay, I'm going to press quite, but I'm just going to bring my left hand back near my, just under my left shoulder. I'm going to press quite firmly into that hand. So I'm using my upper body to come back to all fours, and then we'll do the other side. So inhale, carefully draw up. Okay, that feels better. Exhale, squeeze under. I've got my abdomen switched on. I'm actually switching it on quite firmly right now. As firmly as it's possible. I'm just floating my left arm underneath. So this is a combination of a little bit of abdominal strength and quite a bit of upper body strength. You could just hold if you don't want to do the movements. They're not easy movements. Last one, exhale, squeeze. Feels much easier on this side because the left side is not where my pain originates from. So left side's a lot easier. Right. You can probably see as I'm moving through, mobility is increasing, movement is increasing. I'm feeling, as I do each of these movements, I'm feeling more and more stable and secure in my body because my body is moving in more familiar ways. And this is a combination of stabilizing and psychology. So it's moving away from the fear of the thing that triggered the pain. It's a really interesting process. Some nice breaths. I've let go of Uddiyana Bandha, so I've let go of my abdominal muscles now. Uddiyana Bandha is one of the yogic locks. Is pulling the navel inwards and upwards. It's called flying up because it represents the movement of the abdominal muscles, sweeping inwards and upwards with the out breath. You can hold it, but then you have to let go. So I've released that lock. It usually comes with Mula Bandha, which is the pelvic lock, which is lifting the pelvic floor. They normally come together. Let's release here. Now, I do want to see if it's possible to do just a little bit of more direct upper body strengthening for arms, which means just, I don't want to go too far forwards. I want to actually look at maybe doing some press ups. So I'm going to take it reasonably gently. The best way to do press ups if you've never done them before is to grab a pile of cushions or a big blanket or a block and put it underneath your face so you don't feel like you're having to go all the way down to the ground. So let's just try it without and see. You've got to have a long back, nice long and strong back. My arms are just a little wider than they would be for my usual plank. I just want to see how I get on. Fingertips are, so middle fingers are facing forwards, and I'm going to draw my elbows more back rather than out, back. So belly pulling in, let's see if this is possible. To flatten out my feet. Exhale, lower. Inhale to raise. Exhale, lower. Inhale, raise. And see, this is upper body. I'm endeavoring to keep my spine flat. It feels really good. It is hard work. If you had a cushion underneath, you could go halfway. You can go halfway without. So just exhale, lower down, about halfway, raise up. It can be really tiny. We come all the way down, nose to the ground, and then lift. You've got both those options. And maybe see a little bit of confidence coming. So I'm going to tuck my toes, shift my shoulders forward, gently pull the belly in, see if I can come to a half plank. How about that? A little bit of a half plank. And I'm going to just exhale, lower down, inhale to lift. So that's quite hard. We'll go a little wider. Exhale, lower, and lift. One more, lower, lift, tuck toes, go back. Oh, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. Considering I haven't done a collection of press-ups since Christmas, I'm choosing to integrate it as a functional movement rather than a set of movements. That's not too bad. And if there's anybody there who is PT oriented out there in the world, if the technique looked wrong, it was secure in my body. So the work was correct. Sometimes you can feel exactly what's going on. So I know that the right parts of my body were engaged when I did all that. And the spine felt nice and long because I just don't have the spinal mobility to sag. So I had to use upper body and abdominal strength to do all that. This is just a tiny little attempt at some press ups. Not bad for someone who's going belly walk for 2 days. Not that walking has a lot to do with upper body strength, but it's nice to be able to do something that is a little bit challenging, burns a bit of energy, and just brings back a little confidence. As I said, stability, the feeling of being safe and secure in your body. Sometimes just
throwing in those kind of challenges really helps. So there's a way of doing press-ups at the wall, which is a good way to start as well with press-ups. Okay, let's tuck the toes. Sit back towards the heels, reach the arms forward. Let's see about some downward facing dog. Pressing, spread the fingers really wide. I see way too many delicate little hands in yoga classes. Fingers spread really wide, pressing into the finger pads, the knuckles, a little lift around the wrist. Let's square up, lift one leg at a time. Exhale to draw the legs back. I'm going to keep the knees bent just to start with, just to see how this all feels. Belly, I am drawing my navel inwards and upwards. So yesterday, when I did the dog, I was keeping it very, very soft, very bendy. I'm coming back now towards strength because my back is no longer seized. It's just sore and bruised and a little unstable. I can start to switch on around the abdomen. So I am, again, I've got Uddiyana Bandha switched on, curling my navel inwards and upwards quite strongly. And my back is benefiting from that feeling, feel it. So I'm just going to pedal, pedal. Gently drawing out some length, the backs of the legs. Yeah, it feels really good. It's so nice to be able to do some of the normal movements. Carefully, yes, but the interesting thing about working very slowly, very carefully, is it's a challenge. It's a different kind of challenge, but it is a challenge nonetheless. Okay, so if you have had enough of downward facing dog, you can rest at any time. I just want to see if I can lift a leg. Yes, look at that leg. Feels good. I'm not lifting it as high as I normally would. I'm keeping my hips square. I'd normally be a lot freer with that movement. And try the other one. This one is different because I'll have to weight bear through my right leg, which is something that has worried me all day. Yeah, that feels all right. Very exciting. Leg comes down. And some hope that I might be close, much, much closer to being able to just walk around tomorrow. Might be able to leave the house. Okay, reach back just for another breath. I'm just going to see if I can walk my feet forward. Now, I can keep my fingers on the floor, so it's a little bit more of a help. Forward folding has been difficult for me today. As I said, it's ironic because for the last couple of days I have been bent double, but it's actually been the fatigue in my lower back has been about this position. So what I'm doing is really focusing on the hinging at the hips. Keeping, even when the knees are bent, there's a sense of the hips elevating so that it's not a big bend. So I always say, when we fold, there's a reason we call it a fold and not a bend. You're not bending at the spine, you're folding from the hips. So the spine should actually be quite relaxed in any forward fold. Just going to dangle here and to make a cradle with my arms and just see if it's possible to ground down through my feet a little bit more. I really don't feel like I've done this in the morning. This is the right time to do it at night after a day of movement. So just rolling arms around, circles. Feels really good. So it's been quite a strong practice so far. So I'm not going to do a lot more. Just going to do a little bit. I want to do a little bit of standing work, and it's all going to be from Tadasana, and it's all going to be fairly switched on because as coming back to that theme, stability. I don't want to do anything that is too soft and floaty while standing, just a little wiggle of the shoulders, because I need to stabilize everything. Nothing loosey-goosey, no sudden movements. So I don't want to uncurl because I don't want to curl my spine. So I'm going to press into my feet, push my chest forward, and use my thighs to lengthen up with a flat back coming up. Yeah, slowly. Lift the arms. Exhale and start. Yeah, love it. It's a small pleasure to be excited about being able to do just normal movements again. Okay, so just a little bit of work. Now, I periodically need to press into a small of my back to remind my back to curve the way it normally does. I mentioned yesterday, it's been flattened off, and what I need is my natural curve, which is a little bit more pronounced. So this feels good for me. I don't want to stay still for too long. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to see how safe it feels to ground through my feet with this little practice called Bamboo Mama, which we sometimes do in the winter. So my feet are lined up under my hip joints, belly still drawing inwards and upwards. I'm going to let my hands just dangle to the sides, shoulders relax. Find a gazing point, and I just want to very carefully and slowly start to shift my weight around my feet in small, fairly free movements, but I'm not going too freely. You can be as free as you want. I'm moving in little tiny circles, and the reason I'm making those circles is because I want to be able to track as I move my weight around my feet. I want to be able to track if any moments of discomfort come, so I have an idea of where in my foot is causing that discomfort. And if I know where in my foot it causes the discomfort, then I'll have an idea of where in my hip the discomfort is coming from. As it happens, this is going quite well. So far, so good. I'm just going to put my hands to my hips so I can press in a little bit into my sacrum. So my thumbs are just pressing around the sacrum, which is the section of the spine behind the hips. If I turn around carefully, I have to, no sudden movements, just here. You can feel the bruises. My thumbs are just pressing on the outsides of the spine, not into the spine itself. The thumbs just resting there. And I just want to move around in some very small circles. As I come forward, I'm just very intentionally, without shoving, easing my back, my hips forward a little bit. So the fronts of my hips are opening up. You can't really see. It's not the sort of movement that you can see that much. It's mostly internal. But I'm now grounding down through all sections of my feet as I roll from one side to the other. So not all at once. I'm not grounding through them all at once, but little by little. I'm just going to start moving my thumbs up towards the lumbar region. So now the thumbs are right in that curve at the back of my spine. I can feel my right hip is sore on the outside. I'm just gently drawing forward and drawing back. These are tiny movements, but they're really, really rehabilitative, and they're really stabilizing. So this is the first moment today where I felt secure to be able to have movement on both sides of my feet, both sides of my body. So moving to the outside of my right foot has been difficult today. Okay, and I can actually feel just from this movement, because I'm pressing my thumbs into the sides of my spine, the lumbar spine, I can feel how hard the muscles on the right hand side are working compared to the muscles on the left. And they are, so probably the reason that they spasm so much more on the left is because they are bigger and more developed. So that gives me some information to work on in the future. A little bit of balancing work to be done. All right, so I'm going to come to center now. That feels pretty good, actually. That feels nice. Back to just standing nice and square. I want to take my arms up, bring them together, and pull the belly in and reach up on the waist. And all I'm going to do is reach for a moment, reach. In fact, just to intensify a little bit. So all of the reach, I'm pressing down quite medium firmly through my feet, a little bit of a dip in the knees. I'm just going to make this mudra here. So we all fingers together except for the pointy fingers and reach up. This does intensify everything. My belly's pulling in, navel's pulling in, glutes are engaged intentionally. That's me. So it's possible 2, bring a little strength, but I'm lengthening my spine, reaching up. I'm going to take a very small bend. Now, if you're not used to doing quite an intense but small bend, then you should release your arms and have your palms facing each other, or roll your palms upwards. I want this slightly more intense variation today. I'm going to keep my hips still, hips stay still. Carefully exhale and draw over to the right, moving very slowly so that I don't, there we go, overcook it. That's as far as I can go today. That's as far as I can go. That's the edge of my movement. Inhaling to center. So this is why you have to go slowly. If I'd done that quickly, then I would have re-engaged muscles that are not ready. This side will be a little easier. So exhaling, drawing the fingers over to the other side. See, this side feels easier because the left side is okay to be compressed. The right side doesn't want to be compressed right now. But the lengthening feels good. Inhale to center. I'm going to do one more. I'm just going to free up my arms a little. I'm going to go for the palms reaching up towards the ceiling. Still stretching quite firmly through my arms. A little bit. Exhaling, pulling in. I'm just going to let my hips go a little bit. Yep, that's it. Inhale, that's as much as I can do. Every movement really intentional. No softness. There is no softness in my body right now. This muscular movement. And there's nothing soft in my body at this point. Everything is switched on very carefully. Paying a lot of attention. My arms are starting to get tired. I'm going to inhale, center. And exhale. Just soften my arms down. Everything needs to be very, very controlled when I'm standing, so that I can shift my weight away from any potential pain. So right hand, strengthening, burn off some energy from not doing much for a couple of days. Right. Let's see if it's possible to do any kinds of twists. So we're just going to wind it down now. That's pretty much it. We can come down to the mat and wind it down. So let's try the twist. Just want to do a little bit of soft shoulder rolling. We need to release off those arms. So maybe just roll the arms around. Do some little wrist circles. Some nice little rehabilitative movements. You do this really intense strengthening work. If you've done it that way, it's nice to do whatever soft movements you can. So I've actually, all of the work that I've done, I've engaged so much muscle. It is hot in here. I feel like I've actually worked quite hard for a short spell of time, especially if you count the stuff we did down on the floor. So let's have a look at a twist. So it's not, again, it's not going to be a loose twist. It's going to be really strong. Everything is switched on. So I've already switched on. My pelvic floor is lifting, navel's pulling in and up. Just see I'm scooping everything in. Chest is lifting, glutes switched on. So hips are going to stay stable. I'm going to keep all these muscles switched on because it's safe for me to do that now. It wasn't yesterday. I'm going to see if I can twist. So the breath's coming up into the chest for a moment. Engage, switch everything on. Let's exhale. I'm going to bring my right arm forward, take my left arm back, and now I'm going to squeeze into my navel. So I'm not twisting until my arms have gone to the sides. And now gently bring my belly in. Just going to see how far I can go, and I'm not going to turn my head, because turning the head is what tends to make people over twist. So I'm just going to keep my head around my chest. We've done these every day. We're just changing the quality of these movements from soothing, stress relieving, to tension relieving, to stabilising. Different characters. I've not broken a sweat in any of these postures until today. Okay, on an inhale, very gently drawing round, wide, all the way back up again. Left arm comes forward, right arm goes back. Taking the arms first, shoulders can go a little bit, pull that belly in firmly and really carefully, and we'll draw around. So remember, this is my injured side. It doesn't want to be that compressed. No, that was okay. And level up a little bit and gaze in line with the chest. You notice I'm watching myself on the screen, so I can keep an eye on my alignment. It is useful if you're practicing yoga at home, if you've got Zoom, if you've got a camera on your device, if you're not casting onto television, it is actually quite useful, even if you've just got a tiny window so you don't have to look that closely. It is really worth looking at your alignment, especially when you're working with restabilizing an injury or dealing with back pain. It's very important that you're not overextending. When you're ready, inhale, let's draw the arms up. And exhale to circle now. Yes. That's a lot of work in the shoulders. So I'm just going to do a little bit of shoulder rolling. As I said, I don't want to ground too heavily down either of my feet without giving my body warning. So what we're doing here, you could call it a tonic movement, which means every movement is intentional. You're not surprising your body with any unexpected switching on. I don't want anything to switch on, any major muscles to switch on without at least a little heads up. So just loose shoulder rolls. Feet are fairly well grounded still, which is nice. But I am going to seize up if I stand for too much longer. So we can try. Let's see if it's possible to go down. I don't fancy my chances actually, but let's see if it's possible to go down into a forward fold. So inhale to reach up. On exhale, I'm just going to bend my knees forward, reach forward from the hips. I bring my hands to the thighs and draw my chest back. That's how I'm going to do it. I need a little bit of support so that I don't use my lower back. Hands to thighs, and then lengthen down. Knees bent. There's quite a deep bend. And I can come down into my forward fold. There we go. So there we go. That's a little something that I've learned. Forward folding. Obviously, you use a lot of lower back strength for that. And coming down all in one go, hands free. That wasn't going to happen for me today. So hands come to thighs. Very good. Good to learn some new stuff. Knees are soft. Relax the neck. Wiggle the shoulders a bit more. This is a nice place to wiggle the shoulders from. Bend your knees enough to get your hands to the ground. I do know people with back pain. I'm just going to walk my feet back to downward facing dog. Yeah, that feels nice. I mentioned in a previous session, people who bring their back pain into class, they are always changing how they work. For a moment there, I thought it might be possible to come down into a forward fold without the support. We got halfway down, it's like, nope, hands are going to have to go to the thighs. Thighs are amazing because they're so strong that you can default to your thighs. So just remember, there are parts of your body that stay strong. Arms stay strong, thighs stay strong, calves, glutes. Glutes is another one that needs to be strengthened up. At times, most people need to work on their glute strength. Another pedal out, and now I'm just going to do the naughty thing and allow my shoulder blades to draw down, spine and chest just to open up. Lovely. And one knee at a time, just shifting my shoulders over my wrists and bring one knee forward and down, and then the other one, and reach back. Yeah. And reach back, child's pose, and rest. Just notice what's happening. So lots and lots of strengthening and stabilizing work, but nothing wonky. You notice, did not lift feet off the ground, did not do too much, we just really didn't do anything flamboyant at all. Small movements where it's possible to really control the muscle groups you're working with, and it's possible to really control the size of the movement that you make. Really focusing in on reactivating the abdomen and the obliques, because the abdomen and the obliques do support the lower back. It's just that you don't want them switching on when you're in a spasm. It doesn't help
particularly. Me too. So I'm ready. Got to day 3, ready for muscles to start switching on again. There's a little bit of fatigue in my body because the whole of my back has been absolutely 100% switched on for 48 hours. So I am going to stretch out now a little bit more. And I'm going to do that by coming out of child's pose. Just swizzle my legs around. I want to come light on the back. So I'm just going to do some soft stretching. I want my back to be quite well supported. I have not laid down on my back today, so we'll just see how it feels. Let's see how it feels. So you can have hands on the floor or arms lifted. Let's just see. I'll probably have to bring my hands down. Yeah, I'll bring my hands down to support my way down, all the way to the ground. So you start to learn which movements your lower back is really required for. Interesting information. Okay, feet coming close to the body. I'm just going to have that little rock from side to side that I did yesterday. It's a small rock from side to side. If you're doing these videos in sequence, then you're familiar with everything. If not, I'm just doing it's just a very small rock, natural breath. Just want to see what the sensations are like in my hips and lower back. And rocking movements are very soothing as well, psychologically. Very, very soothing. Okay, I'm going to take my arms out wide. So you can take your arms out wide in a T shape or into girl post, which can also be quite nice. Some people call this cactus arms or girl post or robot arms. Can be very, very nice for the spine, not spine, shoulder blades, obsessed with spines at the moment. Okay, let's take the knees out wider, feet pointing out to the sides, and see about some wipers. Going to go very slowly, just until I can feel the muscles in my hips switch on. You might be able to do this much more freely with the breath. So I'm just going to do some really slow movements, and I'm chatting, I'm paying very close attention to my hips and my lower back. I'm really, really noticing how comfortable my knees are. I'm not letting the hips and the lower back go. So normally when I teach this in class, I say to people, just let them go, let the hips go, let the lower back go, unless it's unsafe for you. So if you have instability in your lower back, then it's not safe to let go. You can't let go. So what I'm doing is controlling this movement and paying close attention to each of the hips. And as I've been chatting here, paying attention, that tension has been freeing up. And I'm still not letting go, but what I am doing is allowing my knees to go deeper, and especially on the right side. So you should be paying attention to your side. When my knees come over to the right, now that knee is supported by the ground and I can feel my hip is fully supported by the ground, now I can slightly let go of it. And goalpost arms is useful because I've got plenty of purchase on the floor to come back up. I'm going to exhale. So I'm just going to lift the knee first, then the left knee, and then I'm going to go to the side and see if I can do that on the other side. So the external rotation of the right hip is what's problematic for me. It might be different for you. Whatever your pinch area is, that little section that is particularly difficult, that is your change. That is what you do. You control very, very carefully until you reach a supported place. And it might be that you can't reach a supported place, and that's where you have firm cushions. That's where it's useful to have bolsters, 1 or 2 in the house. If you're struggling with hip pain, back pain, these buckwheat bolsters, I prefer the buckwheat ones because they're very, very firm. You can get some that have other fillings in them, but they're too soft. When you're dealing with pain management and muscles, you need firm surfaces to work on. You don't want anything that's going to soften and give too much. You need control over your body. So this feels pretty amazing, actually. So this time, that right knee went all the way over in a nice smooth way.
I can hold here for a moment or two. It's going to be a while before I can deepen into a twist. It might not be till this time next week. It might be even longer than that. But for now, this feels amazing. Carefully back to center. So it's always coming out. It's the main thing. A couple more breaths on the other side. Very, very carefully. This is all good news. I was expecting to find some moments of weakness, so not weakness, muscular instability, let's call it. It probably is a combination of fatigue and just as I say, those muscles have been switched on for 48 hours, so there's definitely fatigue in my back. I can feel it. I feel tired. So instability, fatigue in certain muscles, and the two moments where I found that were where I expected to find them, which was when I needed to use my back and my lower back for the forward fold. Not possible. It wasn't possible this morning. It's still not possible now. So I've been doing, you know, really you're supposed to do all your bending through the knees, but I couldn't even do that. And lowering down onto the ground. So you can, there's only so much that you can use your abdomen for. At some point, they are strong muscles in your lower back for a reason. They're there to work for you. So this is why it's important to rehabilitate very, very carefully. So I'm just going to come back to center carefully, center the legs again. I'm just going to do a little bit of pelvic rolling. So I'm inhaling to draw the pelvis up, tailbone curls up, and then exhaling to roll it down. So you can do it the other way around if you want, but I'm not engaging abdomen now, I'm just rolling, massaging out the back of my backs of my hips. So yesterday I had to do this so carefully, didn't I? But now it's starting to feel like a natural movement again. The arch is coming back into my lower back. Can't see it because I've got a black mat, but I can get quite comfortably get most of my arm and my back, which is a good sign. For me, that's a good sign. For other people, that's a bad sign. For me, that's normal. Okay. I don't want to do too much more. I don't want to do anything that's can't do anything that's too floppy. Also don't want to do anything that's too engaging because it's time to wind down. So I'm just going to bring my knees in towards my chest for a little bit of a rock and roll. I'm going to keep them tight to start with. I'm going to squeeze those knees in. And actually I'm just squeezing them in a little bit more tightly. Just going to see about more of a tuck. And just see how that feels. If it's too tight, you can go loose. I'm going to loosen up. Start with quite a tight tuck, and that feels nice on my, it's the higher section of my back, so I can feel it really nicely just about halfway on the back of the base of the rib cage. It's a really nice sensation to massage out. And as you release, the tighter you tuck, the higher up the back your back massage is. Some people can't tuck this tight, it just depends on your body. You could take the knees wide for this. And in fact, we are going to take them wide now because it's happy baby. So I'm just going to draw my hands behind my thighs and start by gently drawing the knees out wide to see whether that right hip will have it. It feels really good. Let's have some ankle cycles while I'm here. Everything in the spirit of winding down now. Just really, it's about, I don't know, about 10 o'clock at night. So this is really me winding down, just stretching out the body for bed in the hope that tomorrow I might be able to get up in the morning and take a walk and get a cup of coffee without having to worry about stability, instability. So we rock from side to side. I'm going to see about, let's see about some happy baby. So happy baby doesn't have to be deep, but the knees do need to go wide. The knees do need to be bent a little bit to start with. Hands can be behind the thighs, the shins, the ankles. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Hands can go around the feet. And to be fair, folding has not really been a problem. This is quite deep for me. I'm not going to stay here too long right now. Folding, like being bent double hasn't been a problem. Bending double using strength in order to bend double intentionally, that has been difficult. But yeah, so this is not too bad. I'm going to bring the knees back together. And I'm just going to make them a little bit looser. I'm going to have lower down the body rock. And a little bit of, in fact, maybe some circles would be quite nice. Just see. Had a little bit of gentle hip opening. I don't want to do too much hip opening because of all that instability. Just a little bit of gentle hip opening. Yeah, that feels all right. Okay. To finish off, just going to walk my feet away and see if I can put myself into Shavasana. You can go into any rest position, but what I want to finish up, the knees to chest could be the end, the finish for you. I'm going to see if I can give myself a nice good morning stretch. So legs out wide, feet just flopping out a little bit. Take the arms overhead. Point my toes because I want to lengthen out the fronts as well as the backs. Lovely. And spread the fingers wide and take the arms out wide for the movement. Just want my whole body to feel like it's had an all-in-one stretch. Maybe a breath or two in pentacle pose. So if you're all right in this posture, you can take your arms out wide, legs out wide like a starfish, let the feet roll out to the sides. And have just a couple of deep breaths. So in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. You can do these in any posture really. You can be on your side and in front. And one more breath. And you are welcome to stay in your relaxation. In fact, I recommend you stay in your relaxation for as long as you want. Give your body time to cool and rest and feel, you know, calmed and relaxed. But for me, it's time to go and sit out in the garden for a few minutes and yeah, wind down for the evening. So thank you for joining me. I hope that that was useful. Just another example of how even when you can't live your life your normal way, because of back pain, because of back injury, because of being immobilized by an injury, in terms of functional day-to-day movement, you can still come to your mat, you can still do some work to rehabilitate, to feel real, feel connected to your body, and you can still strengthen and work, start doing the work that will help you should it happen again in the future and help you day to day. Nothing to stop you. I hope that was useful and helpful, and I'll see you soon. Bye.